Big up to you all. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Blue Lounge. I hope you guys are doing well. I know I said I'm not going to be streaming today. I said we'll be streaming tomorrow. But sometimes something happens, a story comes up that you need to talk about. And this is what happened today. So today we are talking about a story that, to be fair, is something we've been anticipating and we've been looking at for quite some time. But news came out today that we do need to address. So there is a stream for you all tonight. Guys, if you are not a subscriber, you need to be subscribed and you need to have that bell notification button on, because you will not be getting notified of these random streams that we seem to be doing every now and then on the Blue Lounge. So big up to everyone. I want to address some of the guys in the chat. Killer KK, big up to you. Abdul B, big up to you. Sharmark, how are ya? Tobago, big up to you. Stephen, big up. Luke, always a pleasure. And Brian, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time zone you're in. I hope you guys are having a good day. Big up to everyone. Big up to my panelists. We'll go from the top. Dennis P, the couch critic, big up to you.
Yes, fellas, it's good, man. Everything good?
Good, brilliant, fantastic.
Excellent.
Mohammed MDT, Assalamu alaikum, my brother. How are you?
Alaikum salam, Yati. How are you doing? How is everybody?
I'm doing brilliant. I'm doing great. I wish I knew how to say hello in Portuguese, but I don't. So big up to DJ Sav. Welcome to the stream.
Big up, guys. Big up to you. Big up everyone in the comments as well.
Big up.
Big up, DJ Sav.
I'm glad to see you're feeling better. I'm glad to see you're feeling better. And big up to my main man, Bobby Smoke Signals. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, big up, guys. Yeah, good to see you well. And DJ, good to hear that he's well as well. MTD, Couch, the usual suspects.
Big
up, Bobby. Big up, boy.
Big up, fellas.
Pleasure to have you all here. Because today we are addressing a topic that is close to the hearts of many a fan. Especially those, but not only those, that go and watch football at the Bridge. Boogeyman just jumped in. Boogeyman, how are ya? Welcome to the stream.
Hello, guys. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Big up.
Bobby, MDT, Couch, DJ. Hope you're all doing good.
Yeah, big up, Boogeyman. All good. How are you doing?
We're doing okay. Who's that talking? I can't see. Who's that?
It's Boogeyman, man. Look, I tried to ban him from the stream, but I couldn't because I've made him a host, and I've given him credentials that is hard to take away from him. So no, we're stuck with him.
You don't even know. You don't even know. Like he sounds like one of those guys. Imagine if Chelsea was negotiating with somebody like that. Oh my goodness, it will be William Gallas 2.0.
Would be in trouble. We'd be in trouble. All right, let's talk about this topic. Look, people, Chelsea Football Club is one of the biggest clubs on the planet. Some will say, oh, there's this club that's bigger, that club that's bigger. Yeah, there's big clubs. There's a lot of big clubs, and Chelsea is one of them. However, our stadium is one of the smallest when you compare it with the big clubs that we are competing with. And when I say smallest, I'm talking about in the allocation of seats. How many people it can bring in on a match day. How many people can buy tickets and come in and watch football on a match day. Our club has limited capacity. I believe it's 40-something thousand. Anyone know the exact number? I think it's 43,000, something along those lines.
42,000.
42,000. There you go. 42,000 capacity. Now, for us as a club, as a fan base, we can fill that stadium at least twice over. Those of us who want to and who are able to purchase tickets struggle to get the tickets, not because of how expensive they are, and they're expensive, but because of how quickly they are sold out. I've tried a couple of times. Very hard to get a ticket. Unless you have a mate who's a season ticket holder, it becomes really difficult. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about why are we not expanding our club? Because we had permission to do so. That permission expired and we didn't expand it. Now there's reasons behind that. I will address them in a minute. Today, news came out that the West View Upper. It was West Upper and Lower. Now it's West View. So the whole West View stand, that season ticket has been increased substantially. It used to be £1,250. Now it's £3,900. So they haven't doubled it. They've tripled it and some. Why? Well, they say they've done that because they renovated that stand. They've added better seating, better facilities, and we're paying for them. But why are we paying so much for them? Why has it gone so expensive? And why is it that we're seeing this trend, not only with Chelsea Football Club, but with a lot of the big teams, increasing the prices in an outrageous manner? Why are we seeing that? Is it to raise money? Or is it to price you and me out of the stadium? Because you and me, we don't have the financial power that others have. The corporates, the corporations. Because you and me, we can buy 1,200, 1,300, 1,500, a £2,000 season ticket. But when it gets to 4,000, when it gets to numbers above that, it gets a little bit hard. And we are being pushed away. And this is the trend that football has taken. We saw it earlier on with the Super League, introduction of the Super League system. Chelsea weren't on that bandwagon from the start, but we jumped on that bandwagon. And we saw the outcome of how that finished because of the fans, because of the pressure that we put on. But the clubs don't want to have that pressure on them from us fans. How do we stay relevant? And how do we contribute to keeping football for us, rather than it going down a different path? How do we do that? Well, today we're going to be talking about the stadium, the development of the stadium, the history of the Chelsea Football Club and the stadium, where it came from, where it is today, where it's going to be in the future, and what's the situation in regards to us as fans in respect to that stadium, attending those matches. We're going to be discussing that. We're going to be debating that today with my panelists and with you guys in the chat. I will be opening the chat towards the end of the stream to give you guys a chance to come in and also give us your thoughts on this particular topic, because I know we're not all going to agree on everything, so I want to hear from you guys as well towards the end of the stream. Before we get into the stream, lads, before we get into the debate, lads, I want to look. We've got 23 likes. Let's get that up to 50 quickly as possible. I'd very much appreciate it. So if you haven't hit the like button, please do so, and let's jump into this topic. I'm not gonna discuss this in a one. You speak. I'm gonna keep it open. But there is 3 people here on the panel that I want them to start this conversation off by giving us some of their history, because I know at least 2 of them have very close links. One is a season ticket holder. That's DJ Sab, who's a season ticket holder. Him and his father, and they, and they're there watching the games. Bobby also has very close ties to the stadium, and he's been there with the club for many a year. And I believe also MDT is the same. So I want to hear some history from MDT, from Bobby, and from DJ before we start talking about this particular situation as it is today. And I'm going to start with Bobby. Bobby, my man, tell me your impression and your feeling in regards to what has been reported to the season ticket hike in prices today.
Yeah, this is a really interesting topic, and one that when I saw it, I was really motivated to try and hop on. I can't claim to know everything. I mean, these are the maze issues of the financial state of football club ownership and football as it is. I mentioned in the past when we had the Newcastle takeover that there is a trend that football is heading to, which I don't know if it's really healthy. There's a bit of a double-edged sword, politics has stepped in. It seems Saudi money is good, Russian money is bad, and all these things that none of us really understand. But the long and short of it all is that football is high finance, high business, big stakes, big money right now. Chelsea have always been slow to the party. They were slow to the party with the new training ground. What we had in Harlington back in the day was a joke, but we had to, the poor players had to deal with that for decades. And before that, they were training at the stadium itself. So we don't really want to go there, but we've always been slow to the party. What is evident from this is that financial fair play rules have a part to blame for this, because they are forcing clubs, or rather insisting on clubs, to be self-sustaining. In principle, that's okay. In practice, who pays for it? Who pays for the £12 million a year wanted by defenders? It's the fans, isn't it? Ultimately, it's the fans. And so you either pay by merchandising and primarily by season tickets, etc., etc. Running a football club is a massive deal. Player wages is just a part of it. You've got to pay the lighting, the gas. You've got to pay for the tea ladies, the security. So many things. So there is a demand for money. Even the club has always had a history of turning to the people. I remember as a kid, a lot has been said about the buckets in front of the dilapidated Stamford Bridge. that was real, very real and very true. I was there. I saw it. I was part of it. And we, the fans back then, were the people that were putting our 50p's and 20p's and whatever we had in our pockets into those buckets. And that ushered in the pitch owners. Now, there is a clear reason for Chelsea to either expand their stadium, it's just economics, or move their stadium. Now, I know a lot of fans have a nostalgic link to Stamford Bridge. I do. But if it is possible, and I know as time has gone on, we've missed out on lots of, potential opportunities, mainly to the government. We missed out to the Battersea land there where, they eventually chose to sell to property developers. We missed out on Earl's Court. I think we even missed out on White City, although the old racing ground, I think the acreage would have been too small for the plans that Chelsea had. Moving further out into Greater London, is that a possibility? I wouldn't mind, but is there the land for it? I don't think so. And then it will mean moving completely out of London, which will completely defeat the aim and the meaning of Chelsea Football Club, which I'll be against. So I think the development of the stadium at location, according to previous plans, has got to be. We've got to increase capacity in order to bring down the cost of seats and to encourage revenue. Now, will Roman do that in view of his current situation? I think he might be warming to it. The more, he can come in, but put yourself in his shoes. Would you do that in a hostile environment to him because of his nationality? It all seems rather strange. As I said, I won't pretend to know the ins and outs. He clearly loves the club because he's still, hung on and he's still there with us as fans. But, no doubt we have to expand. Is it justified to increase that area of seating, the pricing? Well, I think they've calculated that the people that get season tickets to sit there in the first place are slightly above average income earners anyway, if I may put it modestly. So they're trying to test the boundaries and see if they can afford even more. And I'm sure some of them will. That's the nature of the world. So have we lost Mo? We've lost Mo. I'll just conclude anyway. So the issue here is simple finance, simple self-sustenance, simple FFP, simple demands of players, wages, and they've got to do something. And this is part of the something that the club is trying to do. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's business.
I got disconnected there for a second there, Bobby.
Sure.
It's a great perspective, and we're going to be addressing all those points. And I think you mentioned one key area, and I think it was the reason why we didn't do we didn't move towards the renovations last time around, and that was the situation with Abramovic himself, because we were on that direction. We were about to commence, and then a few decisions were taken that kind of shook that up a little bit. We'll address that in due course as well. I'll bring in DJ Sav. DJ Sav, you are a season ticket holder.
Yes.
And you've been a season ticket holder for many a year. You and your father.
Yeah.
What is your perception of this story, and how much is that going to impact you as a fan?
No, listen, everything Bobby said is very true. I mean, as a fan, I'd love to see him being a season together for so long with my dad. When my dad went off, obviously my dad started going there first of all before I was introduced to it all. But I remember going back to what Bobby was saying about how we used to put in the money in the buckets. My dad was doing that same thing back in the day when our club was struggling really badly back in the days. And for me, obviously, since Roman came in, things have changed. But I've always said, I hope one day we could expand our ground, because I think if you look at all the clubs in the Prem at the moment, especially the top of the Premiership of the clubs, a lot of them have got that. And I think that's the only one thing that we're missing. And obviously that stadium plan, if you guys remember the stadium plan that was originally put there, and we had the go-ahead, and that's how it looked. Then obviously that was scrapped because of the situation with Roman. And I always thought that one day we could go back to it and maybe, see if we can revisit that again. But in terms of us moving out of Stamford Bridge, that's my only one thing. And I guess being a fan for so many years, that's the one thing I probably would say, and the season ticket holders, I wouldn't want to move from our spiritual home, because Stamford Bridge is Chelsea. And, if there's any way, there's a possibility to expand the ground, especially for the older fans and older generation fans that have been going for years and years and years, great. It'd be fantastic if we can do. Would I welcome change and move to? I mean, there was talk of Battersea. I think it was Battersea as well. There was talk of that as well. Earls Court years back, as well as possibly making that move there. But for me, mate, if we can do it all at Chelsea, then at Stamford Bridge, then brilliant. But like Bobby said, it could be very difficult. It depends on our situation, and if Roman does obviously come back more often, he may then look at that situation and do it, because that's the only one thing I think personally we are missing. We're a big club, massive everywhere. That's the only one thing I think we're missing is basically the ground. I think the ground can be bigger, and I hope we can still expand it.
Mo, please, could I please just say one quick thing here before I back off completely? This is so interesting. When we were potentially making the Battersea move, the only reason we were going to make the Battersea move was because when Roman tried in the first instance to develop the ground, he did it as a businessman, and he wanted to buy up the ground completely. And the pitch owners dug their heels in and said, no, they're not going to do that. And in a way, to be fair to them, they said, look, we nearly lost Chelsea back in the day. We saved Chelsea by becoming pitch owners and to secure that estate for the people, for the Chelsea fans. So, Roman, we love you, but you've got to really talk some serious bucks and give us some serious assurances before we let this go. Now, it became a bit of a standoff because Roman, quite rightly, didn't feel he had anything to prove. He'd done enough. And, it was time, I personally feel, but, for them to let go. I think they were on the cusp of that. And then he decided to consider going to the Battersea area. He made a pitch there. I think he was shafted. And eventually he came up with that beautiful design for a new stadium at Stamford Bridge, which I think can be revisited. But the point I want to make here, Mo, before I just move on, is I'm confused. We've had COVID. Roman helped a lot during the COVID time for the NHS. Yep. I mean, he did things. Now we're looking for an injection into the economy. And I think, I'm talking, nationally, really. I think this is partly why the Newcastle deal was allowed to go through, because that would encourage a cash injection into that area. And we've got a mayor who should be salivating for this. This guy wants to invest in London. Let him do it. It's money. Do you know what I mean? We need that economy. So I don't know. I would be looking to encourage Roman right now. And this is trying not to talk like a fan. Do you know what I mean? It's just economic sense. Sorry, I just had to get that in there.
Yeah.
Because...
No, it's a good point. But the thing I want to address more from you, DJ, is the price. What impact is that going to have on the fan base? Having to pay £4,000 for a season ticket. How's that going to impact the fan base? I mean, how much are you paying currently, and where do you sit? I think you're in the shed, right?
No, I'm Matthew Harding Upper.
Matthew Harding Upper, yeah. So what's your season ticket like right now?
Yeah, it is quite pricey. To be honest with you, Mo. I get where you're coming from on that as well.
triple what you pay now. I mean, that could be
that
the
could
next,
be
the next spike.
That could be that's the only. I get what you guys, and this is what I'm trying to say for the younger fans now coming. I say the younger fans, meaning the fans of now that want to come and buy a season ticket. The prices will hike up 100% if the stadium does, and obviously we do expand the stadium. But that's the only one thing I'd say in terms of that, because it would affect. Would it affect me? Probably would do. My price would go up again, depending on where it would be in terms of. I think they go by. What do you call it? How often you attend games, and how long you've been a season ticket holder for, royalty and all that. Yeah. So for me, it could do. I may end up using my points, all my royalty points that I basically got, end up going towards all that just to make my season ticket cheaper. But yeah, but it could end up being that for the younger generation that come in there to buy season tickets, and that's the only downside to it, Ormo. But in terms of the long term for the football club itself, it's good. But then obviously for the fans, the newer fans, it's going to be bad because the prices will hike up for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I want to bring in MDT. This is a spoiler, but MDT has connections when it comes to the academy players. He is very what's the word here? Invested in the Chelsea academy and the Cobham boys. Investment has helped recently in regards to providing better facilities for the training of our youth. It was lacking. Now it's probably one of the best in the world. So Chelsea Football Club need to continue growing. So this hike in prices, is it just the evolution of the club? It's getting bigger. It needs to raise more money. And if it's looking to expand, if it's looking to do anything, it needs to start at the bottom. How much it costs to sit and watch a game at Stamford Bridge. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, I want to get your perception on this before we go to Couch and Boogeyman and get a different perspective. I want to get your point of view on this.
Yeah, I mean, with me, this is a little bit like I don't know how to feel. I'm a little bit emotional, and I'm like, it's the way the world is going and things like that. It's the way the economy is right now. Because I remember in '99, I wasn't even interested in pitch ownership or whatever. It was my cousin Vajula in Manchester here, Chelsea fan as well. Spoke to me about the pitch ownership. Then you decide to buy one or two shares just to be part of the history, and own it. I don't even, they send me letters whenever it's to vote. I never vote anyway. So for me, I never wanted to move. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I started, the reason why I did it is because of is to protect the club and how developers wanted it. And even when Arsenal moved from Highbury, I was laughing at them because I think Chelsea shouldn't move. But the reality has changed, I
want to interject for 1 second more. Yeah. You raised a very good point about Arsenal moving from Highbury. The decline of Arsenal can be linked to that because Arsenal at Highbury were one of the best teams in the UK, in England. Arsenal at Emirates are no longer as strong. Yes, there's many factors, but that is one of them.
Yeah, the thing is, when Arsenal moved, I was never interested in new stadiums or whatever. And because of Arsenal was the first big project, and it failed, and everybody was like, "Oh, look at Arsenal." But then after Arsenal, a lot of people learned from Arsenal. There are a lot of big teams, Juventus and them, AC Milan. They're all building their own stadium. They've done it in a proper way. Look at Tottenham now. So that, with time, my perception changed, and also then the reality of when you were a student, a young student, and then when you start working in the financial industry, then you realize the amount of money those clubs were generating from their corporate seat, and that balanced their season tickets to go down because of the corporation, the amount of money they're paying for their seat, they make so much money, so the club can easily increase their season ticket by £100, £200 a year because of the corporation are subsidizing technically almost 60 to 70% of the cost. Okay, and you kind of realize that Chelsea is not generating that amount of money. That's a fact. Okay, then you started to think, oh, okay. And then when the Battersea Power Plant and then the Elcott and then the White City, all those projects fail. And sometimes I feel guilty because there are a lot of people like me that are pitch owner that didn't vote when Roman wanted it. The reason being because I don't know how to feel. Not that I don't trust Roman, but the nostalgia of keeping ownership of the pitch as well. It was important to the heritage of the club. But the other thing is, before when I'm in London, like if I'm coming to London, if I know that I'm going to London, I could easily get a ticket. That was like 99, 2000, 2001, whatever. But from 2006, that changed. Now I have to call people that work in certain position for me to even get a ticket. And then now you don't even, because with family, I can't be bothered going down. But these are all things that get to where we are right now. And one of the main aspects that changed my mind totally is Liverpool. When the Liverpool ownership came into owning Liverpool, they wanted to increase the season ticket because they were making less money compared to the other clubs. The Liverpool fans walk out of the stadium because protesting. But then they come with a new idea to increase the stadium capacity. By doing that, they didn't increase their season ticket. And now they're planning as well to increase the capacity. Liverpool is going to go over 60,000, almost 70,000 soon. So when you look at that, everybody is moving in a direction where they're increasing their stadium capacity. They're not increasing it in fan number at large. They're increasing it in the corporate number because that's where the money is. But because of the corporate, like if they increase it by 3,000 to fans, if they even include like a 300 corporate box, that 300 corporate box is more than what the fans are paying. So that's where the money is. But Chelsea cannot increase Stamford Bridge corporate box. So what will happen is the fans have to foot that bill. And also one thing we're talking about, I don't think we can increase the capacity anymore. 3 years ago, if Roman did it, like because of that situation with the government, if that happened, but now if we put in new application, it's not the council. Not the council. The council cannot do anybody. The London mayor cannot do anything about it. The local people right now, because of the environmental impact, the laws have changed from 3 years ago to now. I don't think it will be even possible for Chelsea to increase Stamford Bridge like they wanted 3 years ago. The environment has changed. It's not the economical environment, it's the environmental impact on the area. So we'd have to move location?
We'd have to move location, is that what you're saying?
That's one thing I don't think we have a location within the Westminster, whatever, of Chelsea and Fulham area. But then I don't want Chelsea to move out of that area. But I don't think Chelsea can increase Stamford Bridge again. The environment has changed 3 years ago.
But Momo, as you do that was part of the agreement then as well. Like when we were putting together the plan to redevelop Stamford Bridge, the environmental, it hit a snag at that point because of the environmental changes that have taken place in the area, right? So they were able to work that out, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Then, and all of a sudden now, if you go and check again, because of all these things going on, even whatever with climate, all this issue going on, right now it's even stricter than before, than 3 years ago. And people in that area, they're not poor people. There are a lot of rich people in that area. Right. And those people, for us to have what we had even last time around, it's going to be very, very difficult because last time it was a lot of fights. Now it's even harder because of, it's going to be, that's the thing I'm worried about more than anything. Because if we can increase Stamford Bridge,
we have to meet requirements that are pretty stringent. But I mean,
yes.
Yeah, I would assume that it was just the consideration of the environmental issues that needed to be taken into account, right? And the club did plan. So I agree with you. I know it's going to be difficult, but like they're gonna put every effort forward to make sure that that's not.
But what Roman will calculate is, if it would have cost 1 billion to build then, Now it will cost more than that because of the stricter regulation. Is it worth it? Is it financially viable? Those are the things you got to take the impact. Okay, to rebuild a Stamford Bridge might cost you 2 billion right now. So if you move out of Stamford Bridge, might cost you 1 billion. So 2 billion and 1 billion, you got to check. Is it the heritage? Is it? So those are the things, the financial impact. We don't even. I don't know. If I'm the owner, I don't know what to do. And as a fan, I don't want us to move, but I understand. The thing is, right now, if Chelsea increase the stadium to 70,000, the stadium will be sold out. That's not a problem. But then we have heritage as well there. And then, can we increase that stadium? Maybe they might tell us, okay, you're only allowed to increase it to 50,000, 55 max. Is that worth spending $1 billion to increase it by that amount? Those are the things that I don't think they will let us do the 60,000 we wanted before. I don't think so. That's something. I'm saying it now, but I will tell you, Chelsea will release a statement to say that's the reason why they're looking at further things. Because now it's even harder to build new building inside London, things like stadium or whatever. It's really hard. It's really hard.
I hear what you're saying, and it's very true. However, at the point at which it was left, if I remember rightly, the press statement that was released was that this has been postponed, not abandoned. And what that tells me is quite simply the logic is because, South Kensington is still choice property. It's amazing property. So Roman, as a businessman, will definitely look to increase capacity on location. And there was a design to increase capacity, was over 60,000, to be honest. I mean, in the 1900s, Chelsea were the first and indeed the only Division One club back in those days that was pulling in over 100,000 fans. I know that things have changed, but that was what was happening in those days. And I know that if Chelsea have a 60, maybe even 70,000 capacity stadium, they will fill it. We seem to think, oh, how are you going to do it? Well, Mo just said, I'm looking to buy tickets. I can't even do it. There are always going to be outliers beyond the season ticket holders that will buy tickets to go and watch Chelsea. So that's not the problem. The problem is the...
I didn't mention that.
Sorry?
I didn't mention about the capacity issue. I'm talking about the
permissions and the fight that will... I know it will be more expensive, and part of the expense will come in the financial compensation of the people around the stadium because they reached the deal before. That deal now, has probably gone up by a couple more zeros. The deal can be done, but as you've said, is it cost beneficial? And then the issue of moving from the stadium. Now you have shares. You are a pitch owner, in fact. I have a lot of respect for the Chelsea pitch owners. I never bought shares myself because I was a bit skeptical. And that's certainly when it all started. I was way too young. I just feel that they may have made a mistake the first time around. I believe they did. And the mistake for the right reasons. In that
I agree.
They wanted to preserve the club. We understand that. That's why we don't really talk about it, because the pitch owners really came in. They were the people. They saved Chelsea Football Club. And that's why Chelsea Football Club are so fiercely possessive, because we've had to fight for our club. We've had to fight to exist. And we've passed that down over the generations to our children and got them into this thing about Chelsea. Once a blue, always a blue. It's real. So, but the truth is, we have to face the reality of possibly leaving our ancestral home. Now, is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. If we can make a financial benefit that keeps us afloat outside of that particular location, well, so be it. It will always be remembered for who we were. But sometimes in life, you've got to move on. And, your future is better to have than your past. Does that make sense?
Can I just quickly just chime in as
I just want to emphasize we still haven't heard from Boogeyman's opening statement and your opening statement. So let MDT complete his opening statement, and I'll hear from Boogeyman and you, and then we'll open the discussion to everyone.
Sure.
Yeah, and the one side I want to conclude on, the reason why now I've changed my mind about Chelsea, if they can find a place within London, to be honest, I don't, especially West London or Southwest London, I don't mind anymore, is because of this is in the best interest of the club and in the best interest of the supporters. If you asked me 10 years ago, I would say no. Okay, I made that whatever. But now I'm coming across because of this. If this doesn't happen, we will have to always sell every year 3-4 players from our academy to sustain to stay competitive with our rivals, because that's the only way, or else season ticket will keep going up, because we cannot compete when it comes to stadium capacity. We cannot, because with sponsors' money, we're competing with everybody. That's fine, but the corporate box in the stadium, we cannot. Some clubs, they're targeting between 100 to 200 million a season. Chelsea, we are targeting between 70 to 100 million for our stadium revenue. So this is the difference. It's not even small. This is crazy. That's why people don't get it. They don't understand the revenue. When I keep telling you guys, it would be crazy to sign certain. This is what I keep saying. Our revenue is not as high as other people, and other people have even more capacity to grow, like Tottenham. They do. All these other teams, they have capacity to grow. If Arsenal get their act together, get into the Champions League 3 years' time, they're going to increase their income by a certain amount compared to us. So the reason that's keeping us afloat is our sponsor money and the sale right now. But if not, we'll be down. And Tottenham next year will earn more than us. So fans can laugh and joke or whatever. We can win trophies, but they will earn more than us because of their stadium. That's the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's if they get in the Champions League, but they still need to get in the Champions League to earn more.
They'll earn more from
match day revenue for sure, but like they're not getting Champions League revenue.
No, of course.
They have the stadium have other activities. They're making money from the MLS. What is it called?
NFL. But that's like a one-time. Yeah, no, but they're not making money like even like their kit deals and whatnot. They're not making the same sort of revenue like we are. Like obviously their match day revenue is going to be more, but it won't be, especially if they don't have Champions League. They're not going to. They won't come close to us, I don't think. I wanted to touch on a couple things just because. I think just coming from go ahead, man.
I'll let you be the last, so you can conclude all the points that you've had. I'll let Boogeyman go, and then I'll let you be the last one to give me your opening statement. Boogeyman, you are an international follower.
I like that name.
Yeah, international follower. You are not a true Chelsea fan, okay? No. So
I like the international. I'll just focus on international.
No, listen, Chelsea is a massive club, and we are a global team. We are being followed by people all over the place. I mean, only a few weeks ago, we had a person jump on here and tell us that he's from Mongolia. So this is a club. It's a club that means a lot to people, everywhere on the small planet of ours. You looking from the outside in, how do you perceive this? How do you see this? And I know you have experience when it comes to investments. So give us your point of view in regards to this.
Listen, to be honest with you, when it comes to finance, I don't have too much experience, but let me just put it this way. I don't understand the issue here. And I mean, the chicken holders for the West End upper tier are the one concerned by these changes, right? They've seen the
whole stand. It's not just the upper tier. It's the whole stand.
Just give it to me, please. Yeah. I'll bring it back to you. One sec. No, good. Okay. Anyways,
Continue.
that was my wife. That's fine. So I think those are the only concern about the changes. So I mean, listen. I think the stand is a rebrand Westview because they install new bars and TV screen and all those things. I'm not too sure what those ticket holders are thinking at this point. I don't know how long they've been ticket holders and what are their um, history with the club. Maybe they will get some compensation so they can move this if they don't want to enjoy the new changes there, like all the bar.
They'll be offered tickets in the other stands
So
if they don't want to. Yeah.
So for me, I just don't see a problem there because it's not if they cannot afford the bill, they just move to another place and they're still in the stand and they can still watch the game properly. So I seriously don't see a problem, specifically that it's not all ticket holders that are concerned about those changes. So me as an international Chelsea fan, every time I'm coming to Chelsea, I'm just a member, so I can buy a ticket. That's all it is. So I will just go there and I just check the ticket again. It didn't. My price did not change at all. Like if I want to buy,
This will be next season. This will be next season. If you're buying one ticket, I think it's gone up by 25 quid.
Next season.
Stand. Next season, yeah.
Okay.
So it's instead of paying 75, I think you're paying close to 100. It's a number close to 100. So you are paying
as someone that does not live in the UK and will never be a season ticket holder, I don't feel concerned, and I just don't think even people concerned about it should worry too much. I mean, if you're there to support it, yeah, that's the other thing. I can never understand because I've never hold a ticket I've never been like a season ticket holder in any stadium in the entire world. So people have some deep connection to their place. I don't know. We're different. I don't have any connection to any seat anywhere. So me, I'm just talking as me. I don't see if I was ticket holder in the Western upper tier that and they rebrand everything new and they upgrade everything and they say, okay, from now on, if you want to keep hold to that seat in this position, you have to pay more. I understand it, but I don't want to pay more. Just move me somewhere else. And if they say we'll move with the same comfort you used to have before, then I have no problem. So I just don't see the problem yet, to be honest with you.
Okay, I think DJ, Bobby, and MDT will give you a little bit more insight in regards to that because I am not a season ticket holder, but I've had the pleasure to be there and to see the new wide screen TVs and the new food dispensing outlets, and I've sat on them seats with a little bit of a cushion on them. It's not worth a price increase of that magnitude. A price increase, yeah, fine, increase it, double it, but tripling it and some, it's still a bit too much. But I'm sure DJ and Bobby will be able to give us more of an insight in a minute. Is there anything else you want to add before I go to couch?
No. To be honest, no. I just think changes happen. But my biggest issue with all the COVID thing that happened, the economy is completely down, and not a lot of people are seeing their salary being increased. So when you see Chelsea doing renovations and increasing prices, you feel like are they really taking into consideration the people that have been supporting them for generations? So those are the questions you ask yourself. But at the end of the day, man, the business has to survive. Like I think MDT has say a few about them and about it. And I think, listen, those decisions are pure economical and financial decisions. It's now up to Chelsea to negotiate with those people that are holding those seats and see how they can move them with less issues. Because, yeah, you want to move them, but they have to also agree with it. And because I don't know what kind of attach they have with the seat.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, moving people from one stand to the other. I mean, all these stands, they have their own history, and they have their own fans. People who sit at the Matthew Harding, and the people who sit at the Shed, the East, the West, they're slightly different. They're slightly different in the way they support the club, in the way they interact on that stand. But we'll address that in due course. Couch, you have the luxury of going last, and you've heard what everyone has said. Everyone's made some very, very good points. Some very, very good points. What's your take on this price increase, the stadium situation? What's your overall take on all of this?
Again, I apologize for interrupting. I was just kind of like trying to chime in where I could, but I appreciate everyone's opinion. That's probably why I rang in.
Apology not accepted.
Nobody was talking to you, bro.
Not expected or not
Nobody
accepted?
was talking to you. I wasn't interrupting you. But no, like, this is an interesting topic, obviously, and it has a lot of different tenor and tone to it. And just being somebody from overseas like Boogie, you talk about real fans and whatnot, and we would kill to be in the position that you guys are in, like 100%. To be able to buy season tickets to go see Chelsea would be, I don't know what I wouldn't give to do that, right? Currently, if I'm going over to see a game right now, it's almost close to half of what you would pay for a season ticket. That's for me to see one game. Like, that's a real talk thing, right? So, I try and go over once every 2 years. Obviously, during the pandemic, it's been a little bit more difficult to do that, any sort of travel. So, yeah, that's basically where I'm coming from. And like the commitment made by season ticket holders versus those of overseas fans, I don't think it's any different in terms of like how, not necessarily the investment, but just like the love you have for the club. If you can actually say that I'm going to put like $2,000 in to go see Chelsea play one game, and then even more if you have to go travel and do an away game, which I did a couple of years ago, and it's crazy, man. That's a lot of investment into 1-2 games, right? Sleeping on floors and stuff. Anyways, I don't want to get into that too much, but yeah, I just think that like within the next point is like, what is the purpose of the CPO, like the Chelsea pitch owner? It was to preserve the club until it was in a better stead for somebody to take over. I mean, Roman's put billions into this club right now, like billions. He's proven that he's like, we don't need stewardship anymore. We have an owner that is ready to like handle the club. And I understand that we almost lost Chelsea before. We almost lost, the club that we love. And, the Chelsea pitch owners came in and basically steadied the ship. But at the same time, it's Roman that we're basically, hindering the ability for the club to grow any further by holding on to these shares and not giving Roman the ability to do what he thinks is best for the club. And to think that, like, I know that there's trepidation because the thoughts around it are, is like, does Roman have the same interest as the everyday fan? Well, ask any other fan who's put more than $1 billion into the club what their interests are. Like, that's something that we have to take in consideration. This guy has invested a ton of money, a ton of his own money into this club, and I don't know. It just makes me think that what's the true motivation? Like, we complain about ticket pricing, yet we refuse to sell our stake in the CPO just because to allow for Roman to move the club. So when I look at it like that, I'm like, you're complaining about the ticket pricing, and then you want to have a competitive squad where we're competing against the best in Europe. But at the same time, you don't want to move from Stamford Bridge. You don't want to increase the capacity of the stadium to 42,000, beyond 42,000. Like, it's like you can't have it all. Like, so you have to give something at this point. And for me, it's the ability for Roman to make decisions about where the club should be. As long as it's in the West London area, I don't think that should be much of an issue. Like, maybe you put that, maybe in signing over your shares, you put the stipulation in where if I'm giving you these shares, the notion is you cannot move it out of the West London area. I don't know, whatever it could be. I'm sure something could be bartered and agreed upon, but we're just getting to the point right now. It's going to be very difficult to compete with the other clubs, even in London. Like MDT rightly said, like, Tottenham's coming. You know, I mean, whether or not they're going to be able to win trophies or anything like that is still remains to be seen. Just being Spursy and whatnot, but they have the capacity to compete at a high level right now. Same with Arsenal, you know. So, you know, even to a lesser extent, like West Ham, you know, I know they don't own the pitch, but like at the same time, they still have a stadium that they can use and capitalize on the revenue there. The other thing is, when we talk about like the stadium capacity and like the size and whatnot, we're talking about trying to get to 60,000. The proposed seating arrangement for this new stadium, the that cathedral looking one, was 60,000, maybe more. I'm not sure, but like most of that was going to corporate seating. So it wasn't like the real fans like you, Mo, and like and Bobby and DJ Sab. You weren't really seeing the benefit of that. That was all going to corporate. I think they increased the actual capacity for like general seating to like 3,000. So you know that to me also says something else about like how are we trying to. We're saying that we're doing this to gain the capacity and give more younger fans a chance to go in, but like this is all corporate seating. The Birth of the Blues, Chelsea, the first decade. All right, that's a good book. All right, well, I'll get into that. I'll show you my other books. I got some books too. What's going on here, man? You're like you're trolling up my time, man. What's going on here, man? What?
No, sorry,
you're making me feel bad, man.
You're
making me feel bad.
No, it's
Stop derailing my ideas, man. Jeez.
No, Boogie is typing things in the private chat, and MDT's trying to show him that he needs to be researching some hard copies and hard facts.
Just 2 minutes to explain. I don't want to read a book, please.
We can get into it. How about that?
Well, let Couch finish.
My thoughts. Thank you.
Look, listen, guys. Couch never interrupted nobody, yeah. So let him finish his thoughts.
Fair enough.
Go on, Couch. Take it away, mate. Take it away. Go on.
Okay. No, it's just like the idea of like this corporate seating thing. Like, we're talking about like trying to increase the capacity and not giving more back to the fans. But if we increase the capacity, does anyone believe that the ticket pricing would drop significantly so that like younger fans could come in? I currently don't. I think that it's just the price of doing business, inflation and all that stuff. You increase the stadium capacity, but that just means you're bringing in more revenue. You're not necessarily making it more affordable for the everyday fan. I mean, if you're living outside of Manchester City, then I can see where that might be, or if you're a Manchester City supporter, that might be true. But if you're a Chelsea supporter and you're selling out game after game, it's the supply and demand. Like they have no reason to lower the ticket pricing because they know that they're going to get like somebody else is going to pay the 120 quid or whatever it may be to go in there. So, I mean, there has to be a bit of give and take on both sides. I think that like the pitch owners and like the fans like us, we need to be able to trust that Roman's going to make the right decisions for the club. And we don't necessarily have to have this hold over him the whole way and just allow him to be the flexibility to do what's best for the club. And at the same time, they have to take into consideration that if we give them these shares and whatnot, not that I own one, by the way, but I'm speaking more as just a Chelsea fan. You have to give some more, like you have to make it so that the fan experience is a little bit more enjoyable and not just this corporate seating where, overseas fans like myself have to pay like, $5,000 or whatever to come, sit there or whatever. But I'm kind of rambling now, but I'm hoping that the tenor and the tone of what I'm talking about isn't like misguided and you guys understand what I mean by this. It's, it's a difficult situation, but we all have to kind of like understand that there's a give and take involved in all of this.
No, definitely.
I certainly understand.
I'll let you come in, Bobby. Before I do though, guys, we have almost 80 people in the stream and 45 likes. I would really appreciate you hitting that like button. It would mean a ton to me. And if you are new, consider subscribing to the Blue Lounge. We do content pretty much every day. So it'll be good to see you guys back on the stream in the future. So hit that subscribe button and turn that bell notification button on. Bobby, before I let you come in, there's great points raised by everyone. Some fantastic points talking about the different perspectives each one of us has in respect to this. But the issue for me is this. This trend of increasing the price so much, it wasn't started by us, but it's been continued by us. I mean, I know a lot of clubs charge massive prices for season ticket holders to renew. Now, one of the issues that Boogeyman raised was, well, if they don't want to pay that extra price in the Westview stand, they can be relocated. Yes, true, they can be relocated. But why would they want to be relocated? This is the area. This is where their history has been made. I know a couple of guys who I spoke to. That West View is where their father took them to watch their first football match, and this is how they started to watch the game, and their grandfather took their father to that stand, and this is this can be said for all the different stands in the stadium. So that stand, that point, that perspective, looking at the game from that angle, all of that means something to people who watch the game from the stadium, from the stands. Watching it from the corner flag. We've been doing that for generations. We've been watching it from the halfway line. We've been doing that for generations. That means something to people. And for you to be moved, it's not just a matter of, like you go to the cinema and, you can have seat A or seat B or whatever. No, these seats mean something. The club, the stadium, the history, it means something. Now, in regards to moving the stadium from one location to the next within Southwest London, within West London, within South London, it isn't the same as being where it is today. Yes, there's a lot of logistics that needs to be looked at in respect to the size, the location, the planning permission, the rights, etc., etc., etc. But we had an agreement to expand it where it is. Maybe not to the capacity that we all wanted, but it was still a good capacity. That didn't go through for reasons that we've touched on. We may address in due course. But it needs to be revisited. And what was brought up in regards to the corporate seating that MDT talked about, the fact that, yes, when it gets expanded, a lot of those seats would be corporate seats. Well, yes, there will be a big chunk there, but at the same time, we need to lighten this load that is on people trying to buy tickets, because when you have 42 capacity and when you have 60 capacity, you will be able to buy tickets easier, even though they are becoming more expensive. So great points addressed by everybody. Really appreciate the insight that you guys have given us. I'll hand over to Bobby, and now it's an open discussion. We've lost Boogeyman for some reason. He'll probably be back. So it's an open discussion. Anybody can join in. Bobby, take us away, mate.
Yeah, I as I've said, as you've said, everybody has made some very, very good points. The issue of the pitch owners only arises if we want to redevelop that location. If we are moving away, I'm not sure where they stand with that one. That's why I feel the initial opportunity to have sold up may have been missed. And that's why I think, there's now a little bit of politics going on with this ancestral home thing. Because the reality of it is that life changes. Things move on. Places are relocated. It's not that, Chelsea in itself is a spiritual home in its name. So even if it's located in Timbuktu, which I'm not saying it should, it remains forever Chelsea. It is the culture that creates who we are. Now, clearly that's not going to be the thing, because location still sort of gives us our identity. And wherever Chelsea goes, if it is outside of Southwest London, it needs to be within that sort of West, Greater London area, or the outskirts. And it's possible, the whole Cobham area. I mean, there was a plan at one time trying to get some land close to the training ground. There were issues with the residents, as there always will be, but it was workable. I still think the old plans for Stamford Bridge is workable. I think the only thing is that it's going to be definitely more expensive. And this issue of giving higher allocations to corporate seating, I'm not sure about that. I've not really heard that. I know that there might be an expansion in corporate seating, but to overwhelmingly make a new stadium available to corporate seating when you have a queue for season ticket holders doesn't make sense. It doesn't really make that much business sense, because your fans, your regular fans, are the people that will give you atmosphere, that will draw TV attention, and are the people that sustain your club. So they can't be ignored, and I'll be surprised if
Bobby,
the
I'll
Chelsea
just
board.
interject for 1 second. I don't remember which tier it is because they have corporate tiers for the club and different corporate seating arrangements already. And there is a couple that never get sold out. A lot of them do get sold out quite quickly, but there's a couple that don't get sold out. There's always tickets available. So right now we are not selling out corporate seats. So why offer more? So for me, it's the fans, the actual regular seating, that is what we need to address because they will sell out. They will sell out. Corporate, again, it's a good money maker, but at the moment we're not selling out, so expanding it doesn't really make sense to me. But I'm not disputing the fact that we will be doing that, but I'm just saying it might not be financially viable to go down that route, while as more regular fan seats would generate income definitely. And again, I apologize for interrupting you, Bobby.
Yeah, you're right, and in fact, that sort of eludes me to my next point, which is where does the bubble burst? You see, football has always been a people's sport, and even more so, a working people's sport. There's only a finite number of people that can go to or support any club. And as you've said, quite rightly, the corporate seats are not always sold out. So that leaves just the regular fan base coming into the club. Now, the way the future is going, if you price them out of the market, then you're going to just end up with a whole load of empty stadiums. Now, if you undercut or rather, if you sort of put a ceiling on season ticket costs, which is what they're going to have to do, then you're going to have to really review your expenditure in terms of players, in terms of wages, and things like that, if the club is going to be self sustained. And this is where the issue comes in on ownership. Now, if clubs are going to be owned by countries who are going to come with all sorts of different guises to sponsor the club, then everybody's going to go down that route in order to sustain the high level of bills that a top level club incurs. Just look at Barcelona. What's happening to them now because of the bills they've incurred in order to be high level? So there comes a point where it has to be saturated. Everything has its point, everything has its threshold. And I'm just interested and wondering where that is with football, because I think there's already a lot of hypocrisy going on with this financial fair play business. I can see a lot more going forward. And this is the sad thing. There's going to be an implosion because these are just the signs. Yes, for us at Chelsea, we are due an expansion. We are, and these season tickets the costs will not go down. If anything, they will go up. But what's the limit? People only earn limited sums of money. They're not earning that commensurate rate that it takes to pay your £12 million a year salaries per player and things like that. It's just got to stop after a while. It's got to. It's
I think
getting
that's
crazy.
why I think that's why it goes corporate, right? Those corporate seats, because I know here in Toronto, like the Toronto Maple Leafs are like one of the biggest sports franchises in the world. Like they annually pull in like over billion dollars or whatever, more than that. And a lot of what happened when we got the new stadium, which is now called the Scotiabank Place, of all things, what they did was they put in a lot of corporate seating. And you're right, Bobby. It takes the atmosphere out of the games. Like you listen to you listen to it's just like you can hear a pin drop in there. But for people that have the corporate seats, it's like a business trip for them. They take their their business partners to the game. They sit in the corporate seats and they negotiate their deals there, and that's basically what those corporate seats are being used for as for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But it's definitely not a fan experience as much as it is a money revenue thing. And I think that's where sports are going right now. You look at anything in North America, it's the exact same thing. Corporate seats are huge part of everything, right? And like it's no different even with like the new stadiums there. I'm not even sure, like I'm pretty sure that like Tottenham Stadium's the same, right? They have a large section of corporate seating that they can use to drive up just for that reason, right? Like it's expensive. I know a box seat for the Toronto Raptors, who share the building with the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you want to get a box, it's like $100,000 a year, just for that box. And you go in these boxes, they're nothing special. It's just to say that you have this box, this status that comes with it, right? So I think that's where it's going, and that's probably part of the reason why Chelsea are falling behind is because they don't have access to these incredibly huge like corporate seats and whatnot. So we'll have to wait and see. But I agree, it's not the best way to go about things.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Somebody showed me a
I-
model in a platform I was on just yesterday, and he said that football's going towards, as you've said, Couch, corporate seating and pay-per-view. Corporate seating for the corporates that will go to the stadium and make them graveyards, and we'll have all these sort of soundovers that we had during the
COVID.
pandemic. Yeah, and then the regular fans, the real fans, will pay-per-view and have to watch it on TV at home.
So, do you guys know? Sorry, Bob. Sorry.
No,
go ahead,
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, like Chelsea, the club box like the top one. Currently, their waiting list of it. They charge £84,000 a year for the box, and there's a waiting list for that. And I will send you guys the details. And the executive box is £11,280. That's where even is a group one. It's not separate, whatever. And then you have the Drake suite, which is 8,000 plus. So the corporate box, and there's waiting lists on every one of them. That's the reason why. That's what's pushing all these things. Because
is there one that isn't sold out?
no, the thing is, it's empty some of the time because of people that own the boxes. If they don't have clients, they're not fans. They business. They just get the boxes for business.
They don't turn up.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't turn up.
But it's still paid
They're
for.
available. They're available.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to rent it from them, it depends which one. But I don't think it's empty. Let me see. I think the only one that's is the lowest one. The lowest one, that's the one that's empty. I think that's the way you can buy. That's £3,630. But all the expensive ones, they're taking. They're waiting list. So the corporation, the Barclays Bank, the HSBC, the Bank of America, all those were the insurance companies, the food industry like Kuhn and Nagels, they all have boxes there. So they're all fighting for these stadiums, owning boxes there. So when they have a client from America, from whatever, they want to go, instead of having meetings, whatever, you go and chill, eat, whatever. So this is the thing. It's crazy. And also the new stadium is less than 4,000 tickets they want to give to season ticket holders. And they want to make the corporate, they want to make the corporate seats all around the stadium, all around, not only one section. They want around like a stair of a stadium full of corporate. It's like what's happening in America. That's how it's going. If you go like that's why Old Trafford as well, Manchester United. That's what they're gonna do. They're all moving to that water. And Liverpool as well. They're renovating their stadium next again, and that stand is gonna have more corporate seats than fan seats. It's because of this revenue. Everything is about revenue now. So normal fans will be pushed out, which is true. but it's revenue. The more revenue you whatever, because Chelsea, there is demand for that 84,000 pound a year, a corporate seat. And how many people there? Maximum 12. So if you check that, or even less than that, they're making more money on corporate seat, even if those people not using it, than the average fan.
Exactly.
So it is crazy, but that's the reality of things.
You're right. You're right. I mean, even security is becoming real stewardship. You're meant to have your stewards and then your security, but now, if you're going corporate, you're just there stewarding. You're not. There's nothing to keep an eye on as such because you're dealing with an entirely different clientele, and it's sad. But that's where we're going. Money's king. Yeah, but certainly Chelsea have. I mean, the club has so much potential. They're not going to not exploit it. Do you see what I'm saying? They're not going to not exploit it.
But okay, so what are the implications then? Okay, so Chelsea pitch owners own the name of Chelsea, and they own the pitch. So if Roman wanted to move, he can, but he can't call it Chelsea Football Club anymore. It has to be called something else, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That I'm not sure about.
It's
complicated.
Name.
Yeah, it's complicated, but it's the name, mostly the name, and also if you move away from the pitch itself, you have to change the name, the badge, the logo. There are a lot of things that are it's like you're losing the Chelsea identity. And when you lose that, how are you going to market it? You can't market it because the pitch owners own the image right of mostly. It's a little bit complicated. But the thing about the pitch owners as well, for me, what I end up realizing, because when I joined, it was sentimental value or whatever. But what I end up, there are people that, no matter what, they don't care. They don't care what happened within the pitch owners. They don't care what happened. They want us to stay there. Whether they would rather get relegated than stay there. They have hardcore in it as well. If you speak to them, they're crazy. And then
the people I'm scared of. Yeah, because they're enemies of progress.
Yeah, and then you have the ones that are like, okay, we want Roman to do anything, but what about if Roman is not here? And like the Southampton owner, when he passed away, the daughter then later started. So what about if the next person that come along wanted to do whatever with Chelsea? And those people, you have them, and you have those that realize, like, you know what? Let's just let it be. Whatever let it be. If it's the interest of the club right now, and then, but the hardcore, those people, within them, even they would rather be relegated than move. If you ask them right now whether they want Roman Abramovich to leave Chelsea, they will say yes. There's some that never want him. They didn't want him. They didn't like him. I don't know what their problem is. So this is the thing. It's not all pitch owners have the same reason. Some of us have it because of we thought it was whatever. But right now, if you ask me, well, I would choose Chelsea over anything. That's not important. The thing is, it was to, my cousin is the one that encouraged me to do it in 99. So 99 to now, that's 22 years or whatever. So things have changed. But there are people in it that they would rather get relegated or stay at Stamford Bridge. So they are ready for anything.
My understanding of the pitch owners is that they are the stakeholders of part of the equity on that property. They don't. If anybody owns the name, it's Roman because he bought the club. But they own part of the location. They don't even own all of it, but they own enough of that location to make any decisions made on location complicated. I'm not sure what the hold is on moving away. I'm not sure at all. I do know that even though there are some hardcore people that think, oh, we can't ever leave Chelsea, even if we languish into obscurity, we go down with the ship. To me, that's not a progressive mentality. Sometimes you've got to let things go to go forward, no matter how cherished they are. I once had a car that I loved to bits. When it was time to let it go, I let it go. I nearly cried about it, but I let it go. You've got to move on. So I'm not sure about that with them. I know that Roman got to a very good place with the whole pitch owners thing. He put in a good offer that was acceptable, although denied for concerns back then. I'm not sure, and it was very close. It was very, very close. It was only like one vote, Mo, tell me. One vote, wasn't it? Or two that tipped it away from Roman.
Yeah, the mistake, I'm going to admit here, Bob, some of the mistakes some of us make, I thought it will go through. That's why I didn't vote, because, I'm young. It's like, it's not a big deal. A lot of people didn't vote as well. A lot of people voted as well. But for me, that time, I was like, if Roman has it, it's fine, because he's going to develop anyway, we will be fine. I was ready. It didn't bother me. But the mistake a lot of people make is not voting. If that vote is held now, if we hold it now, it will go through. That's what I think the club should try. They should try again to do the vote, because it will go through now, definitely. Because
I
then
think they will. I think they
then
will.
There was a campaign as well in the media for it to be blocked, if you guys remember.
Big time.
There was a campaign, big time campaign. And they pushed, a lot of people went radical, a lot of people went extremist, and they bring their nativism. And people bring their, the newspaper went and get people's emotion really, really wild up.
Yeah,
and
I
if
think-
we do it
You know
now,
what I think it was? You know what I think it was, MTD? I think at the time they were thinking, because they did make concessions. They said like, oh, okay, you get like first dibs on seats or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the package was that they put together, but I think what they were saying was that they looked at it as like, wait a minute, we should be getting more if we're giving you this. This is not enough. A lot of people were taking the greedy angle from like, if I'm giving you this control over the pitch, and also I think it's the name as well, if I'm not mistaken, then you got to be giving me a lot more.
I mean, Roman wouldn't have paid all that money if he didn't have the name. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah,
but I
look it
remember
up.
hearing something about that.
Everywhere I've even checked, it's all about the estate. It's not
Okay.
about the name. The name is what you buy when you buy a club. To my understanding, please, I stand corrected if I'm wrong, but that's how I understand it.
Yeah, no, the name, it come with the club. But
Yeah.
as soon as you move the club from the pitch, you
It
need
can't
to
be Chelsea
negotiate with the
anymore.
pitch owners. You cannot use it outside that way. You own the name, but you cannot use it outside the pitch area. That's where the problem lies. It's nothing it's the movement. It's the moving from there. That's the complication.
I feel sure that Roman will be able to strike a deal with the pitch owners, especially this time, just like you, Mo. It was very close the last time. This time, he will do it. All they want is to sell the plan. Where we're going, what's the future in relation to this. And these aren't stupid people. I mean, crikey, we can sit here on a panel and reason it out. Not to mention people that went to make an investment to save the club. They would look for a brighter future for the club. And the future is where is that? We can't keep looking backwards. We have to look forwards. So, yeah.
I want to just say something. Sorry, Couch.
Okay, I'll just
people
put
in
it
the chat. No, just give me a second. People in the chat, we will be having lines open for the next 15 minutes. So if you want to jump in, you have 15 minutes to do so. Give us your thoughts and opinions before we end the stream. Couch, go ahead, mate.
Yeah, so I just found something. This is a Wikipedia from the Chelsea pitch owners. It says Chelsea pitch owners created in March 1993 to be totally independent of the management and ownership of the club, with the intention to raise funds to buy the freehold and rent the ground back from the club. The club was allowed to use the ground for football and ancillary activities, and if the club should ever leave Stamford Bridge, it should change its name and hand over the rights to Chelsea Football Club to CPO. So I think what they're saying there is they own the naming rights, essentially. Like if you try to move from Chelsea from Stamford Bridge, you can't call it Chelsea anymore.
Okay, that's really interesting.
That is a really strong statement.
And that's where the negotiation lies.
We could go down the Pro Evolution route and call it West London Blue.
No.
or the Blue Lounge.
You buy the rights, don't you? You buy the rights.
Yeah.
I think you all just going the wrong way. The reason why those season ticket were hike up or was increased is because of Lukaku.
What's Lukaku to do with this?
Bloody hell. Hey.
Okay.
No.
If we would have bought Haaland, they wouldn't have went up.
It's
If
because
we would
of
have bought
Hakim
Haaland, they would have
Ziyech.
went down, right?
It's all Hakim Ziyech's fault. It's Hakim Ziyech's fault, man. It's all his fault. That's why the prices have been hiked.
You know
it's his fault, man.
the white elephant in the room. You're all walking around it. I have to get it. I have to bring it out. So, Lukaku, let's talk about it. How much money we're spending on that guy, and why the reason why?
Let's not talk about it, Boogeyman. Let's wait. Let's wait and see what happens.
It's your channel.
Boogeyman. Lukaku, his back training. Hopefully he'll be playing against Leicester. Hopefully he can get a hat trick, and hopefully we'll just move on, man. Give the man a break. Let's give him a season. Let's give him this season and see what happens. In regards to this stream, people, we will be concluding it very shortly. We are on 74 likes. I would very much appreciate it if we could get another few more likes on that. Let's get it to 100 before we end the stream. I've been reading the chat. Generally, a good conversation been going on. Some very knowledgeable people in the chat. Good information. Lads, I just ask you to do me one favor in the chat and just be respectful to one another. There's no need to try to impose your opinion on others. If you have an opinion and the other person doesn't want to accept it, it's fine. You have the right for that opinion, and he has the right to accept it or reject it. So let's not try to impose opinions on each other, and let's listen and let's learn from each other. Like I said, there's been some good information posted in the chat. So big up to everybody in the chat. Some new names. I hope you guys stick around with the Blue Lounge.
Are you done? My question is: the CPOs.
Go ahead.
How many people are they? Is it a group of people, or is it? I just don't understand the concept. I mean, for example, in Canada here, I mean, we have our house, and people own the streets.
Let me tell you how many people.
You want to build on your house, if you want to do any extension on your own property in your house, you have to have authorization from those people owning the street. I understand those concepts here, but then the CPO. I mean, if the building on the property is Roman, and people own the I just don't understand why. Someone please.
Yeah, let me explain to you. Worldwide, we have CPO. I think is over 23,000 currently, 23,000 owners. But I think UK, I think it's 13,000, over 13,000 or whatever, if I'm not mistaken. But worldwide, it's 23,000. Even you right now sitting there, you can join. It's only cost £25 plus admin fee. You can even be a pitch owner in whatever. You go online and fill the form or whatever. They will send you some documentation or whatever. It's simple. It's not hard to be a pitch owner. It's not really hard. I believe if all Chelsea fans become pitch owner, it's better for the whatever, because we could easily sort a lot of things out. But because of a lot of people are not interested in it, so technically there are a lot of people that are like proper Chelsea that dominate the conversation in the pitch owner. So this is a lesson for all Chelsea supporters. Be a pitch owner. It makes decision easier if we want to move forward.
You think it's easier to have more people involved in the discussion? I think it's actually harder if you want to get things done.
No, because people see if you ask for say let's vote, we need 70 or 75% to change decision. Okay, if you have more international fans and more younger fans, we will pass it on. But if you have the hardcore major who are still the majority of the pitch owner, we will not pass any decision. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, I see you. I got what you mean. I thought you meant because I think that the end game has to be just allow Roman to just buy the shares. We don't need the Chelsea pitch owners right now in truth, because we have a stable club and a stable ownership. So it doesn't really serve the same purpose as it did at its inception. So I don't know. I get it. You want to have a piece of the club. You want to have that piece of history and say that responsible for keeping the club at Broadway or Broadview, Fulham Broadway, and like all of that. But like, there's got to be more to it than that. Like if we're talking about Chelsea Football Club as a football entity, then you have to allow for the powers that be who own the club to have control over what where they need to be. Like they know better than we do. That's for sure. We don't have a look at the finances, how we're losing money, year after year and losing ground on our competitors. Like you look at Barcelona, like they got like a 90,000 seater stadium. They're about to expand it again to 100K. Real Madrid over 100 or something like that. Like this is crazy, man. Like if we want to be a true superpower, man, we got to start looking at the teams that are there, and and starting to compete with them on those levels.
Let me just, I think if I'm not mistaken,
sorry. We've got a person from the chat here, Tobago. So I'll give Tobago a couple of minutes to tell us his thoughts, and I'll jump back to you more. Tobago, welcome to the stream. How you doing? What's your thoughts on this topic, mate? Tobago, can you hear us? Tobago. All right, Tobago is not around. MDT, let me hear it.
A lot of people are making fun of Barcelona. Barcelona is a crazy club. By next year, this summer, give them 2 years, they're coming back. This COVID affected them. Barcelona is one of those clubs that I think they have nearly 30 million visitors a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and all through this COVID, they didn't have it. Imagine 30 million visitors a year into them. So how much money is that? So that's why, and also they have the Catalan government behind them. People are laughing at their finances, but they came back from this ashes when they signed Ronaldinho, if you guys remember. That's why I'm worried. Chelsea should take advantage of the situation now. If not, if this Spanish club recover, we're going back to what happened in the mid 2000s. Believe me, they have the revenue. They have the revenue. So this is a temporary blip. And next year, Madrid is coming. And the following year, who knows what Barcelona will be. So I believe now we have the iron is hot. Just take advantage of it.
All right. Sounds good. People, we are going to wrap up this stream. It's been a great stream. Great discussion. Great debate. Important topic because this topic hits close to home. It hits home. So we will be back tomorrow with another stream, and then we'll be back again on Friday with the pre-match preview. International break will be done, and we'll be back to Premier League football. Leicester City, Chelsea on the weekend. We'll be doing the match preview on Friday. Hopefully, we will have a twist to our preview for Friday. You will see it you will know it when you see it on the show. Thanks to everyone who has.
I just want to make one more quick comment. Does anyone think that Chelsea would be in the position that we are right now if FFP wasn't relaxed these last couple of years in terms of the players that we were able to buy and whatnot?
We can discuss that. But I'm ending the stream.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to.
Yeah. So everyone, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do so, and make sure you hit the like button before you leave the stream. Have a great day, people, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, lads.